Hello and welcome to another Draysine 160 layout update. Today I'm going to be showing you the progress that I've made to one corner of the layout. This is the corner with the two bridges over the Vienne River, and there's been quite a lot of progress made. This is an overall video showing you a moutier as well as the main line there as well. So the river has now been installed. It was formed using toilet paper, then painted with brown paint to give it the correct look, and then varnish was applied over the top of it, several coats. And there has been a weir installed, which is going to have some sort of water-based industry installed next to it. And as you can see, the locomotive is coming out of one of the tunnels there, which we'll come on to in a little bit more detail later. The scenery was painted in sort of a dull brown colour, just to make sure that it was fairly uniformed. And this was added to over the last few months, and it was just done over a few days. I installed some plastic art behind the back scene just to make sure that it didn't get splashes onto so it was protected. I also installed some cliff faces made out using rocks, using DAS clay. And I then started adding some of the base ground cover with some of the scatter materials from Woodland Scenics. Some of the trees were then installed, and here's a video of a train running through the sort of first attempt of the running through this area. As you can see, the level crossing cottage is installed and the roadway has been installed here. They are both, the roadway has been installed using DAS clay, which is a great medium for installing roadways. You can then sand it down and paint it a nice grey colour, and it works really well, especially for N gauge, I find. Here you can see the sort of under the skeleton of the layout. It's the knock terraform system, which is wooden dowels, and they are connected by bits of plastic, which are really useful. Not sure if we're going to use it again, but it's definitely been interesting to experiment with, and I've appreciated the fact that it has worked quite well. So the next step was to add some of the scatter materials onto the front of the layout, and I've been experimenting with some of the 1mm sized grass particles that I bought just from off eBay, and they seem to work quite well, and I've used them just as a first coat in some of these images. You might see some in the background here, and you've got TGV here. And I don't know, you might be able to also just notice there's another station there on the main line, which we'll do another feature on at some point in the future. So you can see here a better shot of some of the grass which has been installed. A lot of this is going to be added to. There's going to be a lot more in the way of bush details and trees installed and fencing and things. But it's just to give it a first look as to how it will be when it's got the full detail added. I've added some more rock faces, which I've used DAS clay for as well. And a moutier has had a little bit of work to spruce it up, a few vehicles here and a few vehicles there. And I've also enjoyed running my Aqualis rake through there. So here's a picture of the bridge in its almost final position, and there's the crossing keeper's cottage. The crossing keeper's cottage I decided to do on a piece of sturdy paper so that I could model it away from the layout. It's quite deep into the layout, and it's quite difficult to do some of the trickier pieces of work. So by doing that, I've taken away some of the pain of having to do the detailing from a distance. And it's a great kit, and it's made by Architecture and Passion, and I've got some more shots of it a bit later on. But one of the things I've got to do is to blend it into the rest of the layout now that it's been installed. There's a few shots here of a short co-rail train and a 67-400. There's my X72 500. And the next shot is the BR81, which is one of my newer creations. So the Architecture and Passion kit is really good. You've got an interior as well as the exterior of the building, and that's really great. I'm going to do a proper full video on these at some point soon, but this is the sort of the basis of the kit. You do a little bit of pre-work, you do a little bit of painting before you installed all the components together, and it comes together very quickly, and you start getting a great detailed kit. I need to weather this a bit and make it look a bit more toned into the landscape, but I'm very pleased with the output of this one. I've ordered a couple more, which I've started to do some work on now. The shed for this is from Woodland Scenics. It's actually a plate layers hut. I just thought I quite liked the look of that. So this is the cliff face, which I've used Das clay to make, and some Woodland Scenics moulds. People use plaster, but I prefer the moulds, and I've done a similar technique above and around the tunnel portal here. I don't like plaster. It takes ages to dry, and you can't mould it while it's drying, and with this you've got a really good opportunity to sort of mould it as it's drying and stick it down while it's drying onto the layout, which means it can bend and form to the terrain, which is really good, a really big benefit. This is some of Limoges now. You can see some trains running. I've been enjoying running some trains now. Need to improve some of the reliability of the running, but I'm quite pleased with how it is now able to operate with some of the trains that I've got. The Fleischmann 22,000 is excellent, and here is the Unitrack 67-400 hauling a freight train. And this was taken a while back. This was before the terrain had been fully painted and installed, but it's a really nice video showing you sort of how it can run nice and slowly through the terrain, and it really is going to be a nice scene, this, as part of the layout. And one that I've already started to enjoy running, and you can see the bridges, they're just really impressive here, and that's part of the reason why I took this video and included it as part of the this particular feature. So my van rake there of Cernum vans, which I'll be adding to in the next few weeks. So here you've got a little bit in the foreground of the TGV, you've got the auto rail going through there. You can see it's all been added to now with all the detail. This is the small station on the main line, which is going to be the subject of another video. As you can see, the main line is quite messy around there. I'm going to be tidying that up at some point in the next few days. And I've already started some of the detailed work there. Thank you very much for watching, and like and subscribe if you've got this far to the video. Thank you. Bye-bye.